The average person eats over 50% of their meals outside the home, and fast food, it's linked to obesity, depression, gut damage, and even cognitive decline. But here's the truth. Fast food giants have been lying to you, and they're destroying your health. We all know fast food isn't great for us. We've heard it causes weight gain or isn't clean, but what if I told you the real damage goes way deeper into your gut, your brain, your hormones, and even your kids' future health? Today, we're exposing how fast food giants are manipulating your health and what you can do to reclaim it. Let's talk about what's really happening when you grab that burger and fries on the way home, and how these fast food giants are quietly profiting off your exhaustion, your cravings, and your declining health. Let's look at the health risks. These meals are more than just high calorie. They're ultra processed, loaded with sugars, industrial seed oils, and artificial additives designed to spike your blood sugar, inflame your body, and disrupt your gut microbiome. And over time, they silently fuel chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and autoimmune issues. Then we've got the energy crash. Fast food feels like a pick-me-up, but until it slams you into a wall, it gives you a quick dopamine hit, then leaves you sluggish, foggy, and irritable. It's not fuel, it's a faulty battery, and they know it, but as long as you keep coming back for another hit, they win. Then we've got the environmental destruction. Behind every cheap burger is a supply chain driven by factory farming, deforestation, pesticide-heavy monocrops, and endless plastic packaging. And while they slap words like eco-friendly and sustainable on the menu, they're greenwashing and not changing. And then we've got the mental health fallout. Study after study links regular fast food consumption to higher rates of depression and anxiety. Why? Because it wrecks your gut, your hormones, and your brain chemistry. But mental health doesn't show up in the profit margins, so they keep serving it up, smiley face logo and all. And then we've got social damage. Fast food outlets are deliberately placing lower income communities and offering cheap additive meals like real nourishing options disappear. They don't just feed hunger, they feed health inequality. And this isn't about shame, it's about awareness. Because once you see the bigger picture, you realize this isn't food, it's a system. And it's designed to keep you tired, sick, and coming back for more. So let's break this down with real science, the kind of truth that fast food industry does not want you to know. They spend billions on marketing, but behind the slogans and happy meals is a reality that's draining your health, your focus, and your future. Here's how. Number 1, these meals are more than just empty calories, they're nutritional landmines. A single fast food combo can contain more salt, sugar, and bad fats than your body should have in an entire day. A 2018 study published in BMG revealed that 60% of the Western diet is made up of ultra-processed food, and guess who's fueling that number? The fast food giants. And here's the kicker, it's not just what they put in, it's what they leave out. These meals are stripped of fiber, antioxidants, and essential vitamins. You're full, but you're starving. Starving for the nutrients your body actually needs to function. The health cost isn't just personal, it's epidemic. According to the CDC, regular fast food consumption is directly tied to rising rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and insulin resistance. And a study from the University of Minnesota found that eating fast food more than twice a week was associated with a 50% higher risk of dying from heart disease. And an Australian study in 1996 found that women who consumed takeaway food once per week were 15% less likely to maintain their weight for over a 4-year period compared to those who ate it less frequently. And it's not just weight, it's your metabolism, your hormones, your entire internal engine shutting down under the pressure of synthetic fuel. And here's something you're never told at the drive-thru. Your gut and brain are deeply connected, and what affects one affects the other. Fast food disrupts your gut microbiome, the delicate balance of bacteria that influences everything from mood to memory. A study published in Public Health Nutrition found that people who ate fast food 51% were more likely to develop depression. And this isn't just about your body, it's about your mind. That foggy head, low energy, irritable feeling, it's not in your head, it's in your gut. Think of your brain like a high-performance car. Fast food isn't fuel, it's sludge, and it clogs, it corrodes, and it slows you down, and they know it. Every time you hand over cash at a fast food counter, you're making a choice, and it echoes. That money could have gone to a local farmer, a produce co-op, or a neighborhood cafe making real food with real ingredients. But instead, it goes to corporations that undercut communities, displace small businesses, and leave behind nothing but grease, plastic, and poor health. And the worst part, once they move in, healthy options move out. A 2018 study found that every new fast food outlet leads to a 6% drop in local independent food retailers. And in low-income communities, fast food chains are up to 5 times more common than grocery stores. That's how real food vanishes and how food deserts are born, right in the places that need nourishment the most. Bottom line, this isn't just about fast food. It's about lost health, lost focus, and lost choices. Engineered, marketed, and profited by corporations who are betting you won't ask questions. But you are, and that's where real change begins. And here's the real kicker. This isn't just bad food, it's engineered addiction. These corporations aren't just making meals, they're designing dopamine bombs, and each bite is chemically tuned to hijack your brain's reward system, lighting it up like a pinball machine. They overload it with the perfect ratio of salt, sugar, and fat, known in the food industry as the bliss point, a scientifically calibrated formula that keeps you coming back, not because you're hungry, but because you're hooked. And it starts young. A study in Appetite found that kids who consume high-fat, high-sugar fast food show increased risk of ADHD, anxiety, and sleep disturbances. And these foods aren't just shaping your body, they're shaping your brain. We're talking about real biological changes. Your taste buds dull, your cravings intensify, your brain starts rewiring itself to seek out that next hit. And when it's your child, it's like downloading malware into their brain during the most vulnerable years of development. But here's what you need to hear the loudest. This is not your fault, and you are not broken, and you are not weak, and you're not lazy. You're being targeted strategically, relentlessly, and scientifically. These aren't food companies, they're behavioral engineers, and they're betting that you'll blame yourself instead of them. But the moment you see the truth, that's when the grip starts to loosen, and that's where real freedom begins. So let's dive deeper into the most underestimated dangers of fast food, what it does to your gut. Your gut is like your body's control center. It's where nutrients are absorbed, where immune cells live, and where 90% of your serotonin, which is that feel-good hormone, is made. But fast food, it's like setting that control center on fire. And here's what really happens when you eat it. First, your gut lining takes a hit. Ultra-processed meals loaded with refined oils, emulsifiers, additives, and sugars chip away at the protective barrier of your gut. And over time, this creates microscopic holes in your intestinal lining and what we now call leaky gut. It's like poking holes in your coffee filter. Suddenly, things that were never meant to, they start leaking out. And that leads to inflammation. Undigested food particles and toxins escape into your bloodstream and your immune system goes into overdrive. And this kind of chronic inflammation has been linked to autoimmune issues, allergies, brain fog, and yes, extreme fatigue. And next, your gut microbiome shifts. The good bacteria, the ones that help you digest food, make vitamins, and calm inflammation, they can't survive on fast food. But the bad ones, they thrive on the sugars, the additives, and the hydrogenated oils. And the result? A bacterial overtaker. And once the balance tips, everything from your mood to your metabolism is affected. And this also disrupts your gut-brain axis, the two-way communication system between your digestive system and your brain. So you don't just get bloated or tired, you get anxious, foggy, irritable. It's like someone's jamming the signal from your body to your brain and you can't think clearly. I've lived this. Years ago, I was constantly exhausted. I had thick brain fog and I'd forgot what I was saying mid-sentence. I thought I was just wired that way, but it wasn't until I started healing my gut that the fog lifted and the energy came back and I felt like myself again. So what can you do when you've had fast food or when you've tried to recover from its impact? add probiotics naturally through fermented foods like yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, and kefir, and they help repopulate the good bacteria, increase fiber found in fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains because this feeds the good microbes and helps repair the gut lining. Drink lots and lots of water. It helps flush toxins and supports healthy digestion. Reset by resting and don't punish yourself. Just go back to real, whole foods that nourish and restore. Your gut is resilient and it wants to heal, but you have to stop handing it a wrecking ball and expecting it to keep holding you up. So let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention: what fast food does to your hormones. Because it's not just about weight or willpower, it's chemistry. And fast food is throwing your chemistry into chaos. First, the sugar and processed fats in these meals cause massive spikes in insulin, your blood sugar regulating hormone. And here's what happens next. You get a temporary energy high, followed by a steep crash. And your body overproduces insulin to bring sugar levels down, and over time that leads to insulin resistance. And this is a precursor to type 2 diabetes, but even before that, it messes up with your energy, your cravings, and your ability to burn fat. It's like putting your body in a hormonal roller coaster and no seatbelt. Eventually, something is going to break. But it's not just the food, it's the packaging too. Fast food is often served in wrappers and containers coated with hormone-disrupting chemicals. These are called endocrine disruptors, and they mimic or block your body's natural hormones. And here's the scary part. These chemicals leach into your food, especially when it's hot or greasy. And once inside your body, they interfere with your estrogen, your progesterone, your thyroid, and even your testosterone levels. And it's like letting strangers mess with your body's control panel, and they don't know what they're doing. And for women especially, the effects are profound. Mood swings, weight gain, especially around the stomach, fatigue and sleep that doesn't fix it, irregular cycles, anxiety, and even fertility issues. And the worst part, many women are told that's just part of getting older. But it's not. Often it's your hormones waving a red flags that fast food is fueling the fire. And here's what the science says. Recent studies from endocrinology journals and women's health research show a sharp rise in hormonal imbalances, especially in younger women. Why? Because our food, our packaging, the environment, and the stress levels have changed dramatically, and fast food plays a massive role in that shift. Your hormones control everything from your mood, your metabolism, your energy, and even how you think clearly. And when they're out of balance, you feel out of balance. But here's the good news. Once you stop feeding the chaos and start giving your body real, nourishing food, your hormones begin to heal. Your energy rises, your mood stabilizes, and your body feels like it is working with you again, not against you. And let's talk about the most heartbreaking part of this whole fast food epidemic. They are targeting our children, the most vulnerable, the most impressionable, and the least able to fight back. And the effects, they're not just physical, neurological, they're emotional, and they're generational. Fast food companies know what they're doing. They use toys, mascots, bright colors, apps, and even influencers to hook children in. And in the US alone, fast food companies spend over $1.8 billion annually on marketing just to children. In Australia, a 2023 study from the Cancer Council revealed that 1 in 2 food advertisements targeting children are for unhealthy foods, mostly fast food or sugar-sweetened products. That's not a mistake. That's strategy. Children aren't just mini adults. Their brains and bodies are still developing, and that development depends on nutrients. But fast food offers empty calories, high in sugar, fat, and salt, and almost completely void of fiber, vitamins, and essential minerals. And this leads to development delays, behavioral issues like ADHD, and mood swings, cognitive problems such as reduced memory, focus, and academic performance. A US study published in Clinical Pediatrics found that children who consumed fast food 3 or more times per week had significantly lower math and reading scores than those who didn't. In Australia, 1 in 4 children aged 5 to 17 are overweight or obese, and a poor diet is a major contributor. In the US, the number is even higher. Nearly 20% of children aged 6 to 19 are classified as obese, and these children are at risk. They're at increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease and heart conditions before they've even graduated from high school. And once these eating habits are set, they're incredibly hard to break. Fast food is engineered to create lifelong addictions, hooking kids early with hyper-palatable combinations of salt, sugar, and fat that rewire their taste buds and dopamine response. And when we let corporations dictate what our children eat, we're allowing them to trade short-term profits for our kids' long-term health. And these meals don't just steal nutrients, they steal potential to grow strong, to think clearly, to live well. And unless we take back control, we're not just feeding our kids junk, we're feeding an epidemic that will shape their bodies, their brains, and lives for decades to come. So let's talk about the real cost of that convenient meal. And no, I'm not talking about dollars, I'm talking about the planet. Fast food doesn't just affect your body, it is devastating our environment on a global scale. To supply the billions of burgers, nuggets, and patties they sell each year, fast food companies rely on intensive industrial agriculture. And this includes clearing massive areas of rainforest and bushland, especially in places like the Amazon, but also here in Australia. In Queensland alone, over 680,000 hectares of native bushland were cleared between 2018 and 2021, largely for beef production. And that's the equivalent of more than 1 million football fields wiped out for grazing and animal feed crops. And every tree cleared means less carbon absorbed, more habitat lost, and more climate chaos. So fast food thrives on cheap meat, which means factory farming. Cows in these operations produce massive amounts of methane, a greenhouse gas 80 times more potent than CO2, and over a 20-year period. The waste from these farms leaks into rivers and waterways, polluting ecosystems and even drinking water sources. It's not farming, it's an environmental ticking time bomb. And then there's the packaging. The mountains of single-use plastics, wrappers and boxes and cups and lids that get used for minutes and stay in our environment for centuries. In Australia, we use over 1.8 billion single-use takeaway food containers per year, a huge chunk of it from the fast food chains. And most of it ends up in landfills or polluting our oceans where it harms marine life and eventually ends up in our food chain as microplastics. From the forest to the factory to the landfill, and every part of the fast food industry is built on extract, exploit, and discard. And the result? They are actively accelerating climate change, and they do it with full awareness. Why? Because it's profitable. They'll slap sustainable or eco-friendly or on a cup, or behind the scenes, they're still burning through land, resources, and our children's future. They don't care about the planet, they care about their margins, and they're willing to sacrifice soil, air, water, and wildlife to protect them. But you can choose differently, because every bite is a vote for health and for the earth. So what can you actually do? Reject their lies. You don't need their fake food to survive a busy life. You need fuel that supports you, not drains you. Start small. Prep a few simple meals and snacks for the week. Keep healthy options within reach. Choose whole foods that nourish your gut, balance your hormones, and lift your energy. Support local growers and family-run cafes. Every dollar you spend is a vote for your health, your community, and your future. These aren't radical changes, but they are powerful, because every homemade meal, every real ingredient, every choice to say no to the junk, they add up. This is how you take your health back, one bite at a time. They've fed us lies and they've profited from our pain. But we are not powerless. We are not victims. We are a community, and we are waking up. Tell me in the comments, what lies have they sold you? What one change you're ready to make is starting today? Will you stand with me, with us, and say no? Will you reclaim your body, your mind, your life? Because this isn't just about food, it's about freedom. And if you're ready to break free, to fuel your body with real power, watch the next video on 5 anti-aging foods to eat every day. Let's uncomplicate our health, and together, let's take back what's rightfully ours.